Here I am going to go over Unit 1, Activity 5, which is the final activity in the first unit. So here we're going to talk about opinion pieces and you're going to create a final draft. So before in Activity 4, you were creating your rough draft. Now you're going to go in and edit and create a final draft. So when you think about editing and revising and all that sort of thing, think about playing sports or acting or designing a website or even creating an online work portfolio, and think about how much you might have to edit and revise to make sure you're really good at whatever sport you love, etc. Then we're going to move on here and we're going to talk a little bit more about the editing and rewriting. And you just can sort of think of it as a way of cleaning up and tidying up everything so you come out with a polished piece at the end. So I know a lot of you may use a spell checker, but we're also going to do some grammar review. While spell checkers are great, a spell checker will tell you if a word's spelled correctly, but it won't tell you if it's the correct word to use. So a grammar checker will tell you if a sentence makes sense, but it won't tell you whether it really says what you want to say. So it's important, no matter what, to always be reviewing your grammar and spelling, and you're never too old to do this. So we're going to go into a little bit of grammar, which I think is really important that you all review. So here you can see we're on verb tenses here. So present tense, past tense, and future tense. So when you're writing, you really want to make sure you have a certain tense that you're thinking in, and you're not writing things in past, then present, then future, depending on what you're writing. We're also going to go over sentence fragments. So, for example, enjoy eating pasta. Issue, there is no subject. So to make it a complete sentence, I enjoy eating pasta. So make sure you're looking through all of this, because more often than not, students do this when they're submitting a polished work. Make sure you have correct subject-verb agreement. So grammar advice, be careful not to mix tenses in sentences. So incorrect would be the quarterback, like all the football players, practice every day. Well, that doesn't make sense. You want to say the quarterback, like all the football players, practices every day. So the explanation, the noun quarterback is singular and the verb practice is plural. So the plural verb practice must be changed to the singular verb practices. And there are lots of other examples here that you should make sure you're looking at. And then pronoun, antecedent agreement. Make sure, again, you're looking through this and making sure they match up. If you want it in a big review on a sheet of paper, you can click here and see that yourself as well. Next, we're going to look at spelling. So English can be rather complicated when it comes to spelling. And you really have to know how to spell some words or know the meaning of words to make sure it makes sense. So here you're going to look at suffix rules. So suffixes like ed, est, and ing, etc. are added to the ends of words to change their meaning. Sometimes they change their spelling as well. So, in your notebook, after reading through the following rules, try adding the suffixes to the words provided in the next series of questions. So if you click on rule 1, if the word ends with an E, take away the E before adding the suffix. So in your notebook, record how you would spell the following words and their suffixes. So lied, how would you spell it? Rare, to rarer, how would you spell it? And go on to look at rule 2 and rule 3. Then we're going to look at plural rules. So the plural of a word means that there's more than one. Usually you can change a word to its plural by adding an S, but there are a lot of other exceptions. So pencil to pencils, but there's other exceptions. So again, in your notebook, after reading through, pick. So rule 1, if a word ends in CH, SH, or S, add ES instead of just an S. So what would you do for these words? Look at the next rule. If a word ends in F or FE, change the F or FE to VE before adding the S. So wife to wives. And again, rule 3, some words just have irregular plurals that you have to note. So what would be the plural of these words? Again, we're going to look at homophones. So homophones are words that sound the same but have different meanings. Sometimes homophones will have the same spelling. So like jeans and jeans. So again, you can try it here. Make sure you're looking at there, and there. It would be surprising to you how many people get that wrong. And make sure you're using your spelling resources that are available to you. Again, in your notebook, you can practice with an online dictionary. So what are these words and the meaning? Can you find the proper way to spell them? And last but not least, we really need to look at your punctuation. So it can have a big impact on what you're writing. So you can watch this video here about the debate over an exclamation mark. And then here you're going to go into these following tabs, commas. It's really important to know when to use a comma, when to use semicolons, apostrophes, and so on. And I want you to make sure you're going through each one of these and looking at it. And if you didn't know, make sure you're taking notes on it. And here, I'd like you to take the quiz for these 9 questions. So each time you answer one, you press submit and then go on to next. After that, I want you to edit. Okay, so you've looked at spelling and grammar. Now you're going to look at what you did in 1.4 and you're going to go through and edit it. And make sure you're saving your edited copy as portfolio item 1.5. And here it's telling you how to edit. Finally, for marks, you're going to submit a series of paragraphs expressing an opinion. And there's 5, you should have 5 paragraphs on one opinion here. So please note there are 6 tasks in this assessment opportunity and you need to submit all 6 of them to the Dropbox. So your first task is to select a topic. So are zoos immoral? Is teen mental health in a state of crisis? Should students have to wear uniforms or have a dress code? Does your family need to cut down on screen time? So you're going to pick one of those. Then you're going to prepare a brainstorming and organization chart, which is here. So make sure you're filling it in for your topic. You're going to decide which one argument is stronger. And again, we went over that all in activity 4. You're going to fill in the template here. You're going to write your rough draft and make sure you save a copy of that. And then you're going to revise and edit it. Everything should be in your own words. You shouldn't have gotten anything from any other websites. And I want you to use this checklist to go through everything that you've written to make sure it is what we are looking for. And then finally, you're going to submit it for marks. And again, as a reminder of everything that you should be submitting to that Dropbox. If you want to know how you are going to be marked, there's a rubric there, but you can also look through some of it here. And again, you're going to submit it to the Dropbox. As well, you can, for future reference, save it to your portfolio. If you have any questions, make sure you're asking me.